And Keanu is our fearless leader, our spirit guide all the way.
Well, good morning. I don't know where you're at this
Lupe.
morning. I love that voice. Well, I guess you never tire of those characters because they're so much fun, right?
We don't tire of them. You might by the end of this interview.
I'm having a blast.
I love those voices. They're just so adorable. And I'm not an avid watcher of the Nickelodeon show, but I do watch him.
You're gonna have to leave.
I do watch from time to time. But the movie's just so funny and so entertaining. I was expecting like, oh, kids, you need kids to watch it with, but I was like, no, you don't. Like, it's really enjoyable for adults.
Thank you. And SpongeBob's always had that going for it. Like, without trying, Steve Hillenburg created something that seemed to work across generational lines. At first we thought we were doing a kids show, and then older siblings started watching. Hey, this is cool. People maybe gave up cartoons a couple of years before, too cool for school. Suddenly they're back watching SpongeBob, or they're watching cartoons again. And then the parents and grandparents, and now here we are 25 years later almost. And SpongeBob is multi-generational and I think still considered cool, and people still welcome SpongeBob and Patrick. And it's nice to it's nice to be to still be welcome at the pop culture table.
Well, did you guys, especially you, Bill, did you expect that this show would go for so long? Given that it's there are different types of characters. It's not something we've seen before.
No, because I'm not a big dummy, even though that's really what I do all day. It's a freakish occurrence that any kind of content can continue to thrive and grow and sustain life, and it really goes back to the creator of the show, Steven Hillenburg, who was a remarkable human being who loved the ocean and who loved animation and loved music and had a unique sense of humor and a really great heart to him. And it's all there in the world he created, and we are the lucky inhabitants.
Yeah, we're lucky. He was, he made that roadmap, and even though he's not with us anymore, he was able to pass it on to others to carry on the road trip with, and the movie's dedicated to him. You see a slide, a credit at the end, the very last credit, and so yeah, it's just kind of a mind-blowing thing for us to still be doing these characters, and we've never really stopped doing them. It's not like a reboot or a return, right? It's like SpongeBob's just kind of always been there, and both in our lives and I guess in viewers' lives as well, and it's we're joined at the hip for a long time, us and our audience.
And your co-star, I thought it was just a cameo, but Keanu Reeves is in the whole movie.
Hello. Yeah,
I was surprised.
I know. I didn't see the movie until the premiere last weekend, and we never got to meet Keanu. That's why I'm bummed that there's no red carpet premieres or anything these days, because I don't. So many times when you do an animated film, you meet your co-stars on the carpet. You go, wow, we were in a movie together and we never met. I love you. And that will happen some point. I hope. But yeah, I was amazed that like Keanu is the thread throughout. He's kind of their guide that keeps them focused on this road trip that they're on, this quest that they're on to get Gary the Snail back.
Gary!
Let's go find him!
I smell a road trip!
And Keanu is our fearless leader, our spirit guide all the way.
He was perfect. He had such a great handle on the material, and he really seemed to be enjoying himself. We were.
What's funny is that Keanu's kind of become that, right? Like what a weird career where he's sort of is, almost like a more comforting William Shatner or you know what I mean, or Leslie Nielsen or where the person becomes like who they are becomes bigger than the movies they do or something. Like there's a comfort food factor. And I think SpongeBob and Patrick have that in common, or Keanu has that in common with the SpongeBob characters, is that he's sort of become this other thing to people, not just a movie actor. Like he's kind of this, I don't know what he is, just this kind of spirit guide or something.
He only needs one name, Keanu.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how you know you're cool, like Elvis.
and Cher and
Cher,
Madonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the other cast members, Tom and Bill,
Yeah.
of course. And then you have Danny Trejo and Snoop Dogg in live action. I mean, man, you guys missed out on the premiere. I mean, there's a lot of important things, but
yes, I know.
People.
I know that would be. Yeah, I know. That would have been great. Hey, Snoop, nice to meet you. Woo! Yeah, I've met Snoop a couple times. He's awesome. It's a pretty wacky mashup of pop cultural types with Awkwafina and Tiffany Haddish and like you said, Danny Trejo and Snoop and another one word guy, Snoop, and it's really an oddball assortment, and the movies have always had that. We had David Hasselhoff in the first one, which was kind of a big WTF moment. You're like, what, and that sort of has been the two movies since as well.
And so I wanted to ask you. I mean, obviously you're famous, your voices, but do you ever do your voices in front of kids? How do they react? Do they cry? I've heard one person who voices another character said that they start crying because they're like, no, you're not that person.
Right. They're headed to the nearest kid therapist's couch. You know what I mean? It was horrible.
Well, I figured that out fairly early on in the run of the success of the show, is that if the kid's under 7, I say, oh, I've met Patrick. He talks like this, huh? Because if I would just do Patrick for a 5-year-old, they give me shade. They go, shut up, you're not Patrick.
Yeah, right.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's a reality.
Under a certain age, I've learned to pose as a guy who does a pretty good SpongeBob impression.
Yeah.
Like I'll go, close your eyes. Who is this? And they go, wow, SpongeBob, that's pretty good. Who's it? Wow, Gary. Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah. But then above that age, they think it's cool. Then they're like, wow, that's the coolest. You have a really cool job, and that kind of continues all the way through adults going, wow, that's a great job. I want to get into that. How'd you get into that? And that becomes a discussion of like your employment in this wacky thing that you blundered into to make a living. And it's all fun. It's all just talking to SpongeBob fans of all ages is a blast.
And speaking of that, in quarantine, we've gotten a little lazy as far as how we look, because we can do it from home. So for you guys, that's like normal. It doesn't matter what you look like.
Everyone has a little clearer sense of what it's like to be a voiceover actor.
Lupe's like, you guys haven't given a crap about your personal appearance for years, or your hygiene, obviously.
I prefer it this way. I don't ever want to leave my house for an interview again. This is like perfect.
Exactly. I know. It's a weird mixture of everything being spoiled and us getting spoiled. It's got.
Well, I don't understand why do they call it Zoom? It should be called sedentary.
There's not a whole lot of movement in it, but yeah, you're right. It's and to that, it's changed the way that we record the shows, which we do all the time. Recording it today and tomorrow. We recorded it yesterday over Zoom, and that thing of not all being in the same room, the studio at Nickelodeon, the recording studio, and recording together as an ensemble, that has been like one of the downers of the whole rearrangement for me, because you kind of you do the best you can with what you have, but man, there's no substitute for just having Patrick over here and Mr. Krabs back here and Sandy over there, and it's really kind of get your energy up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much. This movie has a lot of heart.
Thank you.
I highly recommend it to everybody. Thank you so much. Your voices, I love your voices.
Thanks, Lupe. I hope you do leave your house eventually.
Yeah, it's okay, Lupe.
All right, thank you so much.
For you.
Bye, guys. Well, good morning. I don't know where
Good
you're at
morning,
this morning.
Lupe.
I love that voice.
Lupe!
Well, I guess you never tire of those characters because they're so much fun, right?
We don't tire of them. You might by the end of this interview.
No,
I'm
no.
having a blast.
I love those voices. They're just so adorable.